All right, I have never done this before, unless it was a series, but I have read three different books by the same author this week. I'm again going to say I really wish I had read these books in the order that they were printed. I did read Vespertine first. Over there, I can tell where I'm pointing. But I decided to read a couple of her older books too. And the first one, I already did a review for this. You can find it on the channel for an Enchantment of Ravens. All three of these books, they're not connected at all, but they're all listed as young adult. Not only am I seeing a progression in her as an author, but I'm also seeing a progression in the books themselves. Enchantment of Ravens was very much a young adult book. This one, which is Sorcery of Thorns, is still a little bit of got that YA in it. There's pieces in it, but it's not nearly as YA. And like I told you, I think I told you before, by the time you get to Vespertine, yeah, it's still YA, but it's very much YA and name only. I feel like I feel like Vespertine is very much a fantasy novel. The only YA thing really about it is the age of the character. So Sorcery of Thorns, like I said, it's still got a little bit of that YA feel, but each one of these books has gotten progressively better. It's not quite, to me, it's not quite at the level of Vespertine, but it's improved from Enchantment of Ravens, which I also liked. This one's, like I said, better. One of the things I'm going to say, if you really want to get bonus points on your book, Sentient Grimoires. That is a great place to start. Absolutely love the books in here. And number two, make your heroes, your guardians, not soldiers, not knights, but librarians. Yeah, her main character, the fact that this world revolves around the libraries is an automatic, +1 to the book lovers in all of us. We have a young girl, I think she was 17. I think they're all 17. But we have a young girl, grew up in the library. She started at a much younger age than most do. A lot of the librarians, she is an apprentice, a lot of the librarians come to the library as young children, but not nearly as young. She was an orphan. She actually grew up in the library. And she has a connection with the library a lot stronger than anyone else. And of course, we don't know the extent of that. It does get brought along as we go, or why that is. But if you have a strong affinity for books and you live in a library with sentient grimoires, yeah, I can't think of a better place to be. This has got to appeal to the bookworms in all of us. In this world, the grimoires, they are exactly what you think they are. They are, not necessarily spell books, although they definitely do have some spell books. I think some of them are also more informational. These aren't made at Penguin Random House. These are stitched. Some of them are stitched from human hides. Some of them have hearts attached to them or eyeballs attached to them. The librarians kind of see them as evil. Not everybody can communicate, for lack of a better word, with them the same way that Elizabeth can. It was a little confused because I was listening to the audiobook and it took me a second. Her name is Elizabeth Scrivener. A lot of the older people just call her Scrivener. And so, like I said, I was a little confused at first on who is who, and then I realized it's the same character. But in this world, the sorcerers can obviously use the grimoires, but to be a sorcerer in this world, you have to summon a demon. And the demon you summon, you have to have an agreement with that demon. You give them something, and then what they do is they allow you the access to the source of magic. The magic comes from the world where the demons live. We don't get super religious in this one. We do mention demons, we do mention angels, but there's never any other. There's a comment or two about friars and saints. But we are very much this particular story, which is this apprentice librarian and what she goes through. And I won't give away too many things, but let's just say things happen. She ends up being the hero. However, the people who caused the things to happen kind of flip the script on her a little bit, and she ends up being a person of interest in everything that happened. And yeah, life gets interesting from there. She's got the best friend, the one that always gets you in trouble. I think that's a requirement for this type of book. And of course, again, it is a little YA, so she's also got, she's a librarian. So we have to have the handsome, cocky sorcerer who's close to her own age, kind of as that, foil. We all know where that story is going to go. I'm not spoiling anything there. It wasn't as big personally. Again, I'm me. I wasn't as big on the romantic side of the story, but there was enough of the actual story, the background machinations, the plots within plots, the again very close to Vespertine. I can see the Margaret Rogerson's getting to that point where she's really getting that depth of character a little bit higher than was in the previous one. She's always had a little bit, but again, this book came in between them. I see the progression here. A lot of three-dimensional characters, and of course, she grew up in the library. She's got this hard and fast idea of what good and bad and everything is because that's all she's ever known. She gets out into the real world and she realizes, there's some gray there. Not everybody's 100% good. Not everybody's 100% bad. And, even the demons have, a little bit of a personality here. You're going to fall in love with Silas. But yes, Silas becomes a very, very in-depth character. I don't know necessarily that it's one of those 180, you think one thing's going to happen, you think he's going to be one thing and he's another, but he rides kind of down that center. He's very cognizant of the fact that he is a demon, but he's also very cognizant that he's not every other demon. And he is what they call one of the highborn demons, which is, makes him a little bit stronger than some of the others. And these are the highborn demons are usually the ones that the sorcerers do these sort of bargains with to gain their magic because of the fact that they're much more intelligent. There are some lesser demons, fiends, imps. I can't remember what the rest of them were called. But, if you summon one of those, you pretty much get, a snarling animal, and there's only so much you can do to placate those and make them follow you. So the sorcerers themselves of any magic whatsoever or any stature whatsoever tend to lean towards these highborn demons, which of course they also means they have much more of their own magic, and they're just going around killing people randomly. They can do their own things. They can cast their own glamours, etc., and so forth. Silas is a character. He obviously is the one, of course, that belongs to Nathaniel, who is the dashing, most eligible bachelor in all of sorcerdom. Now, I know that sounds a little paint by numbers, but he uses that type of conversation very much tongue in cheek. He's cocky. He knows who he is, but it's also his sarcasm. Again, I think as most of you who are sarcastic or know anybody who is sarcastic tend to use it as a little bit of a defense. But yeah, I do love some of his lines in here. He is very, very funny. I think there was one line where she was complaining that he smelled, and he's like, "It's ridiculous. Me smell? That's ridiculous. I smell of sandalwood and masculine allure." So again, that's a type of humor. But again, you always get the feel that he's joking. He's not really that stuck up sorcerer. But yeah, he's got his own backstory, his own heartache, what led him to where he's at. These three, you can't leave Silas out by the end of this book. These three, they're on a mission. They're on a mission to save the world, regardless of the fact that nobody else believes them. Because where would the fun in that be? Anyhow, if you like magic, if you like librarians, if you like talking grimoires and soulful demons, and run-of-the-mill demon slaying iron swords and salt pellets and things like that, this one's for you. I give this one a 4. I know it's the same I gave as Enchantment of Ravens, but if I put them next to each other, I do have to say that Sorcery of Thorns is a bit higher. Not quite on Vespertine's level, but again, I give Vespertine a 5, so you can't get any higher than that. But I am interested. I ran out of time. Obviously, I'm doing the interview tonight. She does have one more book. It's a novella. I'm obviously going to read that because it is the next, I don't know if it's considered 1.5 or if it's actually 2, but it is the next book. It follows up Sorcery of Thorns. It's set in that universe, and the way Sorcery of Thorns ends, and that's all I'm going to tell you about that. I would have to read book 2. It's a novella. It's probably going to be super short, but I'd have to read it just to find out what happens. So anyhow, if that's all you're trying to find out, is a 4-star. Obviously, if you link to hear from the Goodreads review, you already know it's a 4-star. And again, if you're seeing this, we've already had the interview. Feel free to swing by YouTube and check out the interview I did with Margaret Rogerson as well. Can't wait to see what she does next.